Over live to Kajiado County. Our reporter Fatia Noor is on the ground. Fatia, good morning. What's the latest from there?
Thank you, Michelle. A very good morning. A very good morning to you. Welcome to the 5th edition of Kenya Pastoralist Week, which is taking place here in Kajiado County. Of course, this is basically just to promote the pastoralism activities here in Kenya. Today is the official opening of this week, which is running from today to the 12th of April 2018. And as you can see behind me, there are a number of stalls that different people, pastoralists, products, services that are being provided by various people here that will be showcased later on. But of course, we're also waiting for leaders, political leaders and other stakeholders to give us a brief of what is actually going on here. With me, though, I have the nominated member of parliament nominated member of parliament, Moses Olesankok, to tell us more on what is happening here today. All right. Thank you so much for joining KTN News.
Thank you very much.
So kindly give us a brief of what is happening here today.
Today, all pastoralists in the whole country, all from northern Kenya, from South Rift and even from North Rift, Baringo, are gathered. Around 14 counties are here today to showcase what the product that they have. Because as pastoralists, we really want to come together and form not only a political front, but also an economic front. Because we know that for a long time, the backbone of our economy in this country have been agriculture, but leaving pastoralism and nomadism and livestock keeping, leaving it behind. But we know there are a lot of byproducts that come from our livestock, which we have not been able to utilize. So today we are trying to come together with other international investors to showcase what the potential that we hold as the pastoralist community. In Kenya, pastoralist community hold almost 3/4 of the land that is in this country. And we have not been able to utilize this land effectively.
Knowing that the pastoralists here, it contributes to at least 12% of the GDP in the country. So you as a leader, what is the plan for boosting economy?
Now, if we hold almost 75% of the land that is in this country, but we only contribute to 12% of the GDP, that of course it means that there have been a problem somewhere. And this is the problem that we want to sort it out, so that at least we can increase at least our GDP to be around 50%. Because there is a lot of investments that will have happened in our pastoralist areas, like the northern Kenya. We really don't use the byproduct of camel and cows like hide and skin. We only maybe probably produce the blue skin from our tanneries, but we have not been able to produce the byproduct of the finished product to add value to the products of hide and skin. For instance, the leather product like wallets, belts, and jackets, we still import them from Dubai, and they import our leather from here. And then they finish the product and they sell to us. We want them to be finished here. We want to have a product like a product made in Kenya, made in Masailand, made in northern Kenya, so that at least we can also capitalize on the ready market in the whole of Africa.
Knowing that there are various challenges, of course, that pastoralists go through, including this drought, the climate system, what is the plan for the government to basically deal with this issue?
Yeah, that is part of the issue. That is why the whole government will be gathered here. Our governors will be here who are in the devolved unit of government. Our national government will be here so that we can also tell them our challenges. And one of the challenges is that lack of water. Because we could do irrigation and even to our grazing fields. And we have a lot of water that is runoff water that normally goes towards Indian Ocean and goes to west whenever there is long rains. Like we have witnessed a lot of floods in pastoralist area, Baringo, Narok, part of northern Kenya, and all these runoff water have not been able to be harnessed. So we want to discuss with the government so that we know ways of harnessing this water so that the effect of drought can be minimized.
Also, at the same time, though, we know that neighboring communities raid from each other, especially livestock, cattle raiding, the Pokot, the Somalis, the Maasais. How are you planning to deal with that particular issue?
In fact, we want, as members of parliament, we have a parliamentary pastoralist group that have come together, and we want, first of all, to rename this issue of cattle rustling. You know, within cattle rustling, there is murder. Within cattle rustling, there is rape. Within cattle rustling, there is a forceful deportation of masses. Within cattle rustling, there is also robbery. But we have given it a bit good name of cattle rustling. But if we give it the names, the real names of robbery with violence, if give it the real name of murder, rape, and deportation of masses, then that one will be capital offense. But you know, when you are told there have been cattle rustling in a certain area, you will see as if it is not a very severe crime. But actually, it is a very severe crime. And again, we want also to come as a pastoralist communities to sit down and say what contribute to this cattle rustling. One of them is that for a young man in most of the pastoral communities to marry, you are maybe required to pay 100 heads of cows. Where do you get the 100 heads of cows? So these young men go and raid, not necessarily because they really want to raid, but because the cultural issues will force them to raid. Because if you are supposed to get married and you have seen a very beautiful lady like you and I want to marry you, and if I don't get the cows on time, 100 of them, then you'll be taken by somebody who have the cows. So you will find me going to raid, not necessarily because I like crime, but because then I'm forced by tradition. So we want also to change those traditions so that we know how we can harmonize our tradition together with the situation that is now on the ground, so that we reduce this issue of cattle rustling, because it is it's really taking us back. Our investors have shied away from our areas. We will be having more. If you see the towns that are in pastoral communities, they are very tiny towns. They are very small shopping centers, simply because investors are not willing to come there. We may be having underground resources, but we cannot attract investors who can then assist us in capitalizing on these underground resources, simply because of our way of life, especially cattle rustling.
Okay, when it comes to access to healthcare, especially for the animals, not most pastoralists are accessible to these veterinary services. So how will that be put in place?
Yes, one thing that you will have seen, because of our tradition, especially branding, using fire, we have destroyed our hides and skin, our leather. So our leather, the value is a bit lower than the leather that come from Uganda, for instance, or Tanzania. Because of also our diseases, the control of diseases, that we don't access veterinary services, then you find that our meat is not attractive to the international market. We cannot now export direct our meat to some of the areas, restricted areas like European countries, because of our lack of adequate control of diseases. And sometimes we overuse some of these drugs that are supposed to treat our livestock, because it is not specialists that treat these livestock. It's only a Maasai man, a Samburu man, a warrior, who think, okay, I think this cow is suffering from ECF. So they inject. If it does not get well, then they will go and look for another alternative, and so on. So we will also want to tell the government, one of the challenges is that one, that we want now to have proper livestock rearing that will be competitive in the international market, so that we can be able to export meat. Because some of them say that the chemical content of our meat is too high, to the extent that they ban our meat from their markets, like the European Union.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you. That was Ole Sankok, who's the nominated member of Parliament for people with special needs. Now we just want to move and see what's happening in different stalls. So there is different things displayed here by the Maasais. Basically for tourism, you have beads, you have shirts. Let me speak to a few of them to just tell us. Okay, let me All right, let me make it very fast. So now, habari yako mama? Niambie ni nini uko nayo?
Hapa niko na ngabu huko na vitu za shingo na mshipi niko naye, na hii sai ya logonya, kitu ya kichwa.
Inaitwa nini?
Sai ya logonya. Halafu nara niko na kiriba.
Sasa gani ndo ya mwanamke, gani ndo ya mwanamume?
Hii ndio ya mwanamke, ni hii ya mwanamke. Halafu ya mzee ni hii orchidea.
Ni ya mzee.
So ni mzee kiasi gani anafaa? Kijana yoyote?
Kijana yoyote, hata mzee anaisafaa, hata kijana anaisafaa.
Na hizi yenye kwa hapa?
Hizi ni sawa mama, tukiimbaga, tukicheza hii wimbo zetu, tunafaga hizi.
Inaitwa nini?
Mankeki.
Ni wenye wameolewa ndo wanavaa hizi ama ni?
Hata wale wanaolewa wanavaa hizi. Wale wanaolewa tunafalisha kama hizi mashuka, kama hii tunasema hii ni ya chini, hii ni kama skirt. Halafu tunafalisha hii ingine, halafu tunaweka hii juu. Halafu tunaweka hii mange, msichana ambaye anaolewa. Halafu tunaweka hii ngabu huko, tunaweka hii. Halafu tunafunga yeye mshupi kiuno.
Sawa sawa. So hizi vitu wenye uko nazo hapa, wewe kawaida unauza ama?
Mimi nausaga.
Unauza wapi?
46. Nausaga 46.
Na biashara iko namna gani ukiuza hizi?
Biashara inataka kuinuka. Kwa ajili kiangazi ilikuwa imetusumbua, lakini siku hizi ni kama wananunua moja moja. Ni kama imeanza kuinuka.
Ni watu aina gani wananunua? Ni kila mtu ananunua ama?
Kila mtu ananunua. Wa mama wananunua, wazee wananunua.
So, all right, those are just some of the products that they have here. As you can see in the stall, they're just the same thing, just shirts, beads, you have necklaces. They all come from the Maasai community. So pretty much this is some good tourism activity actually happening here. So let's just move to the next stall and see what they have for us. The next stall here, we have the Kenya Meteorological Department. Basically, I think this is just for the climate. All right, so let's just see what they have here. Hello, sasa. Nani yako hapa? Yeah, so you have different, meteorological equipments, if I may call it, basically to measure the climates in different parts of the country, of course. And you know, as pastoralists, they really depend on climate. I mean, for farmers, when it comes to food, when it comes to cattle, getting their food, of course, climate is very crucial here. So apart from that also, still goes on to different supplies that they have here. There's the fish. Now there's fish feeds on this side here. Yeah, so which basically, if my cameraman could come closer. Yeah, so habari yako? Hii ni nini uko nayo?
Hawa ni samaki, wale anaitwa catfish.
Samaki kazi yake nini?
Hawa samaki ndio wanafugwa sasa na wakazi wa Kajiado kwa sababu ya hali ya anga vile inabadilika. Tunawekeza samaki iwe njia mbadala ya kupata pesa na kupata chakula katika hii kaunti yetu.
Na inauzwa kawaida?
Inauzwa kawaida na iko na soko zaidi. Ni kwa vile bado hawajafika kiwango ya kukuza samaki wengi.
Okay. So all right, so that's just fish, yeah? It's catfish that they're using here to sell different products. So if I may just stand outside and look at other products that are here, as you can see, there are a lot of pastoralists here. Looking at different products that are here. Earlier on, I had checked what they have, basically some agricultural products to basically boost crop farming for different regions. Yeah, so yeah, this is what we have here. And of course, pasture and different things. As we know, pastoralism in this country is quite big. And in East Africa, at least 20 million people practice pastoralism here, and of course in the world around 700 million in Africa and in Asia. So different organizations are also here. As you can see, there's National Drought Management Authority. And of course, for the agricultural sector, you have the Agricultural Sector Development Support Program. All this basically to support pastoralists and to support farmers and different stakeholders here. So in this event today, we are hoping to see different strategies that they will come up with to boost pastoralism in the country. Of course, we are also waiting for Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku to be here to just give us more update on what they will be doing in this region to just boost that. So I think we should just, we'll keep going and see what we have. Yeah. Let's go and just look at other stalls, I guess. I mean, a couple of things here, a couple of exhibitions. I mean, like the Maasai beads that we have here is just to boost tourism in the country, which is very important. We have a very rich cultural heritage, yes, in Kenya. So as you can see, many stalls here with the beads, with the necklaces, and a lot of people actually just looking at them and actually buying just to promote tourism in the country. Very interesting developments here. If we could just come in and look at other products here. Apart from the beads and the bangles that we had seen and the belts, there's a bag here. There's a bag. If I could only talk to the lady here and to just tell us more. Hello, hi. Hi. Kindly tell me something about this bag. Yeah, very interesting bag, very interesting color. What has it been made of?
It's designed. It shows the current use of beads. Yeah.
So how much is it being sold for you?
It's 700. Yeah.
And it's for young girls, or even mamas can carry it?
For everybody. This is a clutch bag. It's for everyone. Yeah.
So the way I can see it, there's only beads on this part. What is this material here?
We only make beads, and we take them. They give us this material. Yeah. So we don't make these. We only make the beads, the bead parts. Yeah.
So coming from a pastoralist community, is this the main activity that you have as a woman?
Yeah. As a pastoralist, we all understand that the women has a major part in beads. They use beads for decoration. So this is what we do.
And how is the business usually?
It's so good.
It's good?
Yeah.
Do you sell every day, or do you have like a specific day you sell? Because I know in some places they have like different days where you have Maasai markets selling beads and different things.
We sell them every day, especially for the days that they have functions like this one. But we have a specific market where we stay, we sell them, and we make them.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, so just the same Maasai beads that we have seen, and of course clothes, and that was a bag. Very interesting. So if we could just move forward and look at other organizations that are here. The day is still young. People are still coming in. As you can see, not a lot of people are here. But of course, we have United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, of course, which deals with agriculture, which deals with food in the whole globe. All right, so if we could just move closer and see what they have and what they're hoping to do for this 3-day event here to boost pastoralism in the country.
In a way that did not follow the required regulations.
Yes.
So this affects the people,
Okay.
as well as even animals and livestock becoming resistant to diseases.
Okay.
So this affects.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Welcome to, this is KTN News.
Yes.
We are live now. I just want you to give us a brief story of what you're actually doing.
Yeah, this is a Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. It's a technical agency of the UN that provides technical support to governments. And FAO, their strategic objective is to eradicate malnutrition, supporting eradication of malnutrition, poverty and hunger, as well as sustainable management of natural resources. And for this, we have various projects across the country, and we work very closely with the national government, the county government, and the people as well.
Tell me one successful project that you've had when it comes to, let's say, pastoralists and agriculture in the country.
A lot has been happening, and one of the things that FAO has contributed immensely is eradication of Rinderpest across the world. This is a disease that affects the various livestock, and it has led to losses of livestock over the years. And FAO, with partners, with the stakeholders, put up effort to vaccinate, to eradicate Rinderpest across the world. This is one major, gain that FAO has made across the world. And one of the things that I was telling also the participant here is there's this disease called PPR, Pestes des Petits, that affects small ruminants. And there's a lot of effort going on across the country that we vaccinate these animals, supporting the government to vaccinate the animals to also ensure that this PPR is also eliminated. So that is one major thing that I can mention.
What are some of the challenges that you face as an organization dealing with agriculture in the country?
Yeah, as an organization, of course, we depend on resources from donors. So one major element that limits our work is there's not enough support in terms of, we need to do a lot, but we don't have enough resources to cover all the needs of the people. So what we focus on is to see that with whatever resources that we get, can we do something that catalyzes change, that spurs change, and people can, take up, and the governments can also sustainably support. So that's one major challenge. And of course, the needs of the people is also quite varied, and needs also keep on changing with the changing times. For instance, climate change, for instance, poses great risk to people's livelihoods, and it keeps on, the effect keeps on increasing, and this requires multifaceted, approach. So FAO, with its limited resources, cannot really cover everything that is required to make people resilient. So those are some of the things that I can mention.
How do you create an awareness as an organization to especially the pastoralists, the people on the ground? How do you create awareness?
Yeah, as an organization, we have presence in at the county level. We have presence now in 17 counties. A lot of these are in pastoral areas. We work directly with communities. So we work with community groups who also enlighten the members of the various community. And we have various way of reaching out. For instance, aspect of using radio has been seen to be actually very effective extension way of doing. I have a brochure here that also actually details. So using vernacular radio to reach to people in their own language, to be able to understand what FAO is doing, and also to understand what approaches work for them, for livestock keeping, for crop production, for instance, in drylands. What do they need to do? So, and also we work a lot, because I have said at the beginning that we are a technical agency, so we provide a lot of technical support. So we have knowledge base from across the world that then we impact on people, and also the government officers who directly work with the people on the ground. So those are the major things that...
Okay, as I can see here, you have a book here on gender and land rights. And as you know, pastoralists, access to land has been it's a key issue, it's a big problem, yeah? So how do you let people know about their land rights, and what exactly does the book entail here?
Yeah, FAO has a program funded by the European Union, running across 8 counties. It's called Land Governance Program. And this program looks at how can communities' tenure be strengthened on community land. And Kenya has made strides in terms of producing legal frameworks that now allows communities to be able to own their land. So what we do now is that we promote sensitize communities to be able first to know what legal provisions are out there that they can use to strengthen the tenure and manage their land. So in the 8 counties, we have offices that are present that work closely with these communities. In terms of now land rights, what has been affecting communities a lot is that the previous laws, the land is held in trust, by the government, especially the local government. And this gives leeway, for communities are not directly involved in terms of management. Decisions are taken sometimes that does not cater for community interest. So communities now will be able to form their own management structures. They're called community land management committees. So these community land management committees, when they are capacity built, they are the ones now who will draw management plans for their area. They are able to now regulate issues like grazing, what needs to be done where. If there are investors, for example, coming into this county or the community, they're able to negotiate even with the investors directly. So, and in all this, the one that you mentioned now, how do we ensure that women are not left behind? Women have been seen to be, in terms of ownership of land, if you look, even recently there was a report that was launched that shows that only like less than 10% of land owned is in the hands of women. The rest is by men. So, and these are, maybe they are either legislative, cultural issues that form barrier to women ownership of land. So how do we now sensitize the women themselves, ensure that our legislative frameworks also support women to be able to own land as well. And this is quite important because in terms of food production, we see that women are the ones who work on land even more than the men do. So it will have a lot of impact if the women have the rights to land, access to land, and be able to manage the land.
Okay, at the same time though, I see an antimicrobial resistance. Tell me more about this. What is this all about?
Yeah, basically in terms of livestock and also human health, people use medicines. And the antimicrobial here refers to the ones that act against microbial organisms, including bacteria and viruses. Across the world, there has been a huge problem in terms of how antimicrobials are used. For instance, in livestock, there are vaccines that people use and also drugs that people use for their livestock. And these drugs, there are specific procedures for using them, specific doses are given, and often people, just like even with human medicine, people do not use according to the prescriptions that are given. So the drugs, if you use less of the drugs, for instance, the microbials that remain in the body become now resistant to that disease. And then people have to use now a higher level or a higher antimicrobial of a higher strength to be able to clear that. And that means expense, and that means now when people get resistant now to those diseases, they easily succumb. And to the livestock, we have seen that now communities are able even to administer these microbials to their livestock. But then if they don't follow, they are told maybe for the 7 days, do not milk this livestock or do not consume the livestock products, do not eat the meat. But people do not follow these instructions as well. So these microbial residues goes into people's system, and then your body again, because this comes in a doses that are not sufficient, to treat, people's body also become resistant. So this is a major problem actually across the world, that FAO and other partners also try to advocate for proper use of antimicrobials and other various drugs that people use in their daily lives.
Finally, you are here in this event today. What are you hoping to achieve in the 3-day event here?
Well, in the 3-day event, it's a big event now, bringing pastoralists from across the nation. One of the things that we like to promote is pastoralists to speak in one voice. There are challenges that are common to the pastoralist communities in Kenya. And when they speak in one voice, it's possible for the government and for organizations to be able to respond to their need. So one of the things that we would like also to talk about later in the presentation is how can pastoralists come together, form associations, that are able to advocate for their needs at community level and at the national platform. So we want to see how pastoral associations can be formed, for instance, and these pastoral associations can then manage even grazing lands. They can manage aspects of marketing. They can negotiate across borders for resources. Pastoralists are mobile people. So when they move from one area to another, how can they negotiate, with their neighbors? We've seen issues of conflict that arise, and this has always shed very negative image about pastoralists. So how can we ensure that now there's a framework within which pastoralists negotiate, and then conflicts are also prevented in this way?
Yeah. Thank you very much for that input. Thank you. All right. So, of course, a lot still going on here. Different organization reaching here to give more details of what is happening. But now I just want to move forward and go back to the Kajiado County stand, where we'll get different leaders from the county to just basically tell us what they're planning to do for the pastoralists, especially in this county and as a whole. All right. So as we walk on, you can see different people are here. Pastoralists. The event was expecting at least 4,500 participants to be here, and different leaders from different parts of the country just coming together, building the relationship and the strategy way forward for the pastoralists in this country. Yeah, so as we go ahead, we'll see a lot of developments going on in different places. And different harvesting materials that are there, and of course also in terms of the meteorological departments and all. So for now though, let me just get in and just look at different materials that are here. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Kindly tell me, what do you have here?
Yeah, this is a program called Agriculture Sector Development Support Program. It is an agriculture sector-wide program that supports capacity to various actors in the sector. In Kajiado, we have got 3 value chains, which are priority: milk, beef, and tomatoes. And normally we provide capacities. These are various materials for the various technologies which can help the actors to empower themselves in making sure that our value chains are commercially oriented, so that the households can be able to generate higher incomes and be able to access the markets. Basically, what we are really doing is to, like technologies, and we have always been telling people this as pastoralists, pasture is very important as an input in milk value chain and beef value chain. But this problem of ipomea, which in Kimasai they call olbeneyo or authoritative, is a disaster in pasture development. Where it grows, there is no pasture. If there is no pasture, then we have a problem with our livestock. So we have developed several posters to make a campaign. For example, you are able to see here, you see with very little rain, the olbeneyo is very green. Below it, you can see there is no grass. During drought, it shades. It shades, then you see cows now are macheting. The community has made a decision to make sure that they start uprooting it. It has to be uprooted to be able to get good pasture for healthy livestock. After that, we encourage the pastoralists to fence. You know, fencing controls grazing. Now from paddock 1, paddock 2, when there is adequate pasture, it can be conserved into bales, and we are even training the communities. We are training the communities and giving them the smaller, adaptable, appropriate technologies like the grass cutters. Here, after fencing, you can see there is a very good grass which has been cut, and we are giving them small boxes for baling. You can see the women are being empowered to use these small technologies to cut grass, and then they bale and they store for the dry season.
So this is the Ipomoya.
This is the Ipomoya. In Kimasai they call ultimated ama olbeneyo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it just grow during any time of the season, or?
This invasive weed is very tricky. It is there throughout the season. During the wet season, it is very green. It responds to very, very low moisture. During the drought, it shades, but it is very active, the roots. So it is there. Unless it is uprooted, there is a disaster for pastoralists in Kajiado. Yes.
That's very interesting, actually. So how successful has it been? So how many people have learned about this project?
This as a we have made extensive campaigns in the communities, and we are ensuring, like now in Kajiado Central, we have got 5 field schools. What we call a field school are groups that we have catered, and we are taking them through the whole session of conservation of hay. How do we manage our rangelands? And we can say over 100,000 people, communities have been able to be trained. And we are using various institutions like the Office of the President, Interior, and other organizations to make sure that the community is empowered to uproot and understand that this is a disaster in waiting. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's very important, educational, and it's basically to just increase milk production in Kajiado and, of course, for all the pastoralists. Now, we are back at the Meteorological department here, where we did not find somebody earlier. Hi, how are you? You're live on KTN News. Kindly tell me what you have here.
Welcome. My name is Barasa Shaban. I am the County Director of Meteorological Services in Kajiado County, and welcome to our stand. What we do here is we are trying to bring services closer to the people about meteorology, weather, and climate. So we, according to the theme of this year, which is supporting climate-smart pastoralism, we are contributing to that. One of the things we are doing is that we are increasing our network of observations. You can see on my left there, we have some of the observations that the gadgets that we use on that diagram. These are what assist us in developing the weather forecast. Our support to the climate smart is actually to assist the pastoralism to be able to cope with the changing climate change. One of the things we are doing is that we are having a radio here called a mobile radio, because the lives of the pastoralists is moving around. So with this kind of radio, we can disseminate the forecast, give them an early warning so that they can prepare themselves and make decisions. Other things that we are doing, you can have a look at the radio. It is a winding radio. You can move around with it. You just wind it like this, and then it plays. You also have the solar panel, which is used to power the radio. So what the pastoralist does, wherever he has moved with his animals, he can stop by, tune into the radio, and then get the weather information. This can assist him in planning for whatever is moving around with the animals.
Okay, this is a new technological innovation, I should say. But how affordable is it for the pastoralists or the farmers?
Right now, we are having a program that will just be giving out the radios. We have done that in Narok, where we have our RunIt, that is the radio network. Some pastoralists have already been given out, but we are rolling out other programs so that we can have affordable. But at the moment, we are just giving out the radios for free.
Okay, so, but at the same time, how do you educate this pastoralist on how to even use it?
Yes. So we have had many programs. There is a program called Participatory Scenario Planning, whereby we call the pastoralists when we are developing our seasonal forecast. We normally have two, for the short rains and for the long rains. So when we call them, as we are giving out the seasonal forecast to help them make decisions about how to plan for whatever activities to do with the climate, we at the same time sensitize them and explain to them on how to use the radios.
Okay, so apart from the radio, what else do you have here?
Okay, we have a rain gauge here, which we are trying to encourage the communities so that they can be keeping a rain gauge. They can help us in increasing the number of observations, because the key thing about prediction is actually observation, and one of the observations that we do is measuring the rainfall. So we have a rain gauge here, which is a very simple tool. Once the rain falls in here, you collect the amount of water, and then you use the measuring jar. You put the water here, and then you take the recordings. Then we have the cards here. The volunteer observer can enter the figures of the rainfall on a daily basis. The day that it has not rained, you put 0 values. That
Thank you.
One method that we are using.
Thank you very much. I think that was very interesting. Let's now just move on to the other side and see what we have. Yeah, still very young. It's still a very young day. We see different developments here and different institutions that have come up with strategic ways of building the pastoralism in the country, of course. So as it is now, we're still waiting for the governor to come in and other leaders. And we want to actually take a look at some of the developments the banks have come up with to make it easy for farmers and pastoralists to be able to sustain the pastoralism activities, of course, in the country. Here now we have the Choice Microfinance Bank, and of course we'd want to talk to them and see what they have here. Okay. Hello. Hello, hi. How are you? So, bank, what do we have here?
Well, this is the stand for Choice Microfinance Bank, and my name is Moses Donyo. In this here, we are showing what Choice Microfinance Bank we offer. We are, number one, the only bank that is born in Kajiado County, which is a community-based microfinance. We offer all the microfinance services, ranging from mobilization of our savings from our members, and also offering of the loan facilities to enable members to be able to come up with viable economic activities that can improve their standards of living. More so in this pastoral community, we are one of the banks that have come up with products more so to cater for feeding of the livestock in terms of drought. We have done that on a number of times in terms of foliage, in terms of looking for hay for them and financing that kind of aspect. We also encourage them to also do the farming of the same instead of buying. And in that case, we are also doing the apprenticeship program with partners, whereby we enable, we take a number of youth, we train them, and then when they go back to their farms, they are able to grow the hay, the foliage, and feed their livestock. And that is what we do.
Okay, so what are the unique products and services that you have here for the farmers and the pastoralists? The unique products?
For the farmers, number one, we have what we call the agricultural product. There is what is this one here? The Lima loan. The Lima loan product, this is particularly for the farmers. They may be those ones who are dealing with the livestock, or others who are doing the specific farming programs, maybe the farming of crops, the crop husbandry aspect, and also the animal husbandry. That is the specific product that goes into that. Then, to go hand in hand with that, we also have this product that caters for water. We know that water is a resource that is scarce within this county, and to ensure that the members they have access to water, we finance them to get the water tanks, so that they can be able to access clean water, and also be able to give out the same to their animals.
Okay, this is very nice, but how effective has it been, especially for water, which is a key problem to the pastoralists? How has it been effective?
Well, to start with, number one, what we are focusing on mostly is the challenge of the community, knowing that we are offering this specific product. That is the knowledge of the product. And that is why we are today here, as well as in other forums, to ensure that we market this product properly. Yeah, that's one of the greatest challenges that we are dealing with.
How successful has it been?
Well, in terms of success, in terms of letting, we can say it is successful because quite a number of groups, more so from the Ma community and other members of this county, they have benefited from this. We have a portfolio of more than 15 million, basically for this. Yeah, taken up by members of the county. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So apart from this county, how many other counties have you put this in?
As I stated before, this bank is born in Kajiado County. Currently, we are only in Kajiado County, but with the prospects of growing nationally in the near future. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Choice Microfinance Bank, just basically highlighting what they can provide for the pastoralists and the farmers. So as we move on, okay, we're still waiting for the governor, Joseph Elelenku, to be here to just give us more highlights on what they'll do. But I have spotted Miss Kajiado here, and I think it would be good to have a word with her so she can tell us what she is doing for the county. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Kindly tell me your name.
My name is Sation Parmwat.
Okay, so what has been your role in the pastoralist community?
First of all, I'm a pastoralist, so definitely I am in, and my role has been promoting our culture, which is one of the dominant cultures we have in the country, and it's been exciting touring the world and just talking about the Maasai people and the Maasai community at large.
Okay. So coming from a pastoralist community, what is one of the challenges that you have seen?
Drought. Like the past year, it's been so bad. Coming from a community that people depend on livestock, it's been very tough before the rains. It was very crazy. But we thank God for the rains, and we're looking forward to learning a lot of things from this conference, because actually even based on the theme, which is climate smart pastoralism, we're looking forward to having an interactive session where the pastoralists are going to gain from what they're going to be taught.
With your position as Ms. Kajiado, what's the one thing that you have done or you're planning to do for the pastoralist community?
I think civil education will be very important, especially on matters environments, because climate change is real and it's been happening and it's affecting us in a very large way. Just if I go back and refer to the past drought, it's been so tough for them. The cattle died, and we depend on livestock. We depend on cattle. I grew up, my father selling cattle for me to go to school. So if you don't have cattle, it's going to be difficult. So if they get the knowledge of what they need to do, because I come from a community that believes you need to have 1,000 cattle, which I think you can sell and just remain with a few that you can be able to manage.
Okay. Now, as a woman, I can see you in the beads, in the culture of beads. How are you promoting what the women are doing here in terms of even tourism itself?
In terms of tourism and culture, we have women groups we've registered, and we normally engage them in all activities that we have in the county. If you have any opening for them to market their products, we have them come on board for free. So like even for the Devolution Conference, we'll be going some of them. Yes.
And so are there any young girls that you're mentoring yourself?
So many, oh my God, so many, yes.
In a what? How? What
Most of them want to become models, so I get to mentor them a lot because the modeling industry is not very streamlined in Kenya, unfortunately, but I get to guide them on a few things that they can do.
I mean, also in terms of education.
In terms of education.
So how do you do it in terms of education?
I go to schools to mentor, especially we have a lot of rescue centers in Kajiado, so I keep visiting them, talking to the girls, encouraging them that as much as they've gone through FGM or early marriages, it's not the end of life, and they can still become what they want to be, regardless of the obstacles.
Is there any specific case that you have seen, especially FGM or early marriages, that you have seen is very painful, especially to the girl? Like you've worked on it?
No, there are reasons. I just get to work from behind the scenes, but nothing in particular.
All right, thank you very much. That was Miss Kajiado, just giving us highlights of basically everything in Kajiado County, pastoralism, education, FGM, and different things that actually happen here, including tourism. Now, let's move on. We are in the next store. We have the Voice for Change partnership, that is Pastoralist Voice Towards Resilience in Climate Change. Now, climate, very important, one of the issues that's majorly affecting pastoralists in the country. Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Kindly tell me your name and what you do.
My name is Victor Gatogo. I work with SFV in Kenya. I'm a renewable energy and climate change advisor.
Tell me more about what you have here.
So in this shade today, we are joined by SACTEP and SNV, where we are showcasing what SNV is doing in Kenya. We are in 4 sectors: renewable energy, resilience, that is climate change, and water and sanitation. So today we are all passing the information to the pastoralists in Kajiado County on the opportunities that we are doing on promoting climate-smart pastoralism. One of the key areas that we work with, or the key sectors we are working with, is on resilience, whereby we are promoting climate change or climate-smart technologies, where we are working with pastoralists just to look at how can they absorb shocks of climate change and how they can, increase resilience when it comes to impacts of climate change. As we all know, the marginalized communities in Kenya has really been affected by climate change, whereby we've seen cases of prolonged drought causing, pasture that majority of the pastoralists rely on to, not to be there for their cattle and their livestock. So that is what we are doing, working with 9 civil societies in Kenya, whereby we are working with them to promote the issues of climate-smart agriculture and just how they can mitigate against, the impacts and the shocks of climate change.
Okay, so can you just take me through one of the approaches or strategies that you have here that is important for even any pastoralist watching right now?
Okay, I'll let my colleague Andrew talk about SACTEP on what they are doing, because part of the activities they are doing is one of the CSOs or civil society organizations that we are working with. So SNV provides funds to them so that these funds can be made available to any local people, the devolved function. So they work with counties, and I'd like to talk more on what they are doing in the county.
Thank you. My name is James Kamau Manyagi. Yes, I work for SACTEP Kenya. We are situated in Thika, but normally we are working on Voice for Change, specifically food loss and food safety. So in food loss and food safety, so we are trying to enhance. Okay, we are on 2 sectors, that is horticulture and dairy. So what we are normally doing, we are doing capacity building to we are empowering our farmers on the ground that they may be able to come up together. They form alliances. Then they influence or they lobby out for some changes or their policies within the county governments, so that the county government may come up with the policies that they are highlighting on the issues of food safety and food loss reduction. So basically, we are in Kajiado County. We are working with the county government. We are also requesting if they can add more funds in the sector regarding to the pastoralists.
Yes, but what I want to understand exactly is the methodology, the approach, and the strategies that you have for the pastoralists. What is at least one of the strategies or the approaches that you have?
So the key approach, okay, specifically in Kajiado, so we have been working with other sites. For instance, right now we are doing with MADFE, Masai Add Value Addition. So basically, what we are doing per se in the sector of SACTEP is not per se for the need for. You see, we are located in
not really for pastoralists.
For pastoralists.
Yeah, they have programs that they are rolling out for pastoralists, and one as he has mentioned, is capacity building. The key concept is we want to capacity build, especially the civil society organizations, so that they are able to advocate for policies based on research, policies advised on what is workable for the communities. Yeah. Yes.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. Okay, so that was a Voice for Change partnership. Basically, let's just move on to the next. To the next stall here, Afri Scott, to tell us what they have. It's called Jicho la Mfugaji Angani. Very interesting. Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Kindly explain to me what you have here today.
First of all, thank you. We are people from PCI Kenya. We are the guys behind AfriScout. Basically, AfriScout is an application that helps them to get information on forage and water availability from the convenience of their hands or palms. Yeah, yes. So from, like you can see, Jicho la Mfugaji Angani, we gather this information from the satellite, and then we impose it or superimpose it on maps, digital maps. For example, the Kajiado map. Yes, and then we give it to them via the smartphones. Yeah, that makes sense.
But is it only here in Kajiado County?
No, we also in Isiolo, we have a map for Isiolo. We have 3 maps for Marsabit County because it's quite larger. We have for Lesami Sub-County, North Horr Sub-County, and the other one, Moyale Sub-County. Very soon you're going to Samburu County starting early next month. We have also a map for Samburu County. Yeah.
Okay. This seems a little bit complex. How do you create that awareness or even teach the pastoralists or the people that you're selling this?
Ironically, it's not as complex as someone might think because we have made it quite easy for pastoralists to understand. We're using codes, color codes. For example, if someone wants to know there's enough forage in such a place like we are right now, just look at the map, look at the location. We have different towns or locations, grazing areas. Then if it's green, very green, that shows there's grass. If it's yellow, moderate grass. Brown, very sparse grass. So what we do, we go to areas, we talk to the youths because we know they are very digital. They understand how they have smartphones, they understand how smartphones work, and they're able to also teach the older generation. We also use the chiefs and the county government. For example, here in Kajiado, we've been using the CSG to help us create awareness in the areas that they work. Also, the County Commissioner's Office, they've been quite helpful in just helping us disseminate information to the people in the field. Yes.
Very interesting. So how successful has it been?
Very successful, I can say. We started last year in September, or let's say October, and so far we have about 3,000 pastoralists using the application in Kenya.
So that's the whole of the country, or how many counties?
The three counties that I mentioned, that is Kajiado, Isiolo, and Marsabit. And you have to note that Marsabit we just started 2 months ago, and we have about 600, close to 700 pastoralists already using the application. So as you can see, it's something that people are picking up, and you're quite impressed with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Wow, very, very interesting. Very digital, I might say. So as we just keep on moving ahead and see what we have, is we still wait for the governor to come in and officially begin or officially open the event here today. Now we want to just talk to a local leader to tell us exactly what they do and what they're planning to do. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome to KTN News. Kindly tell me your name and what you do.
Well, my name is Samuel Teum. The area MCA. This area, it's called Indamat. Yep.
All right, so tell me, today is for pastoralists. This week basically is for pastoralists. What do you do, or what will you do for them?
Well, it's basically a pastoralist week, and we are hosting pastoralists all over Kenya, and we are looking forward to meet other pastoralists from other regions of Kenya, Wajir, Mandera, Turkana, Samburu. So, and bearing in mind that we are coming from a very serious drought that has really killed most of our animals, it's good to share what other people are doing from other parts of the country. We are looking for alternative livelihood and ways where we can make sure that our people live happily, considering that this is a arid area where we have drought, and we need to see what other counties are doing. Yes.
So as the area MCA, what is one of the biggest challenges of the pastoralists in this area specific?
One of the challenges is basically drought. Yeah, drought. Drought has become really persistent, and so that's one of the challenges. Another challenge is land. Land is becoming small because of subdivision. So we entirely depend on livestock because this is not an agricultural area. So if land becomes small, that's a problem, obviously.
Okay, so of course, have you gotten any cases, and how do you deal with such cases? Because access to land is very critical for pastoralists.
Sure. We are trying as a government to come up with legislation to control the sale of land, and we are doing zoning. There are those areas whereby you cannot subdivide to some acreage, some acreage. So that we're only trying, and we're discouraging people also from selling land, because basically if you sell land, you lose livelihood because we entirely depend on livestock. So we are, as a county government, we are discouraging people to subdivide land to some parcels that are not productive.
Okay, so what happens if somebody wants to just subdivide that land? What do you do to that person?
There's really nothing much you can do, but we are discouraging. And as I mentioned earlier, we are coming up with a legislation whereby we put proper plannings. There are certain areas, of course, like towns, you'll expect people to subdivide land to to small acreage. But if you go to the interior sides, we're discouraging people from subdividing the land. That's the only way we can be able to sustain this kind of livelihood that we live in.
Away from pastoralism, basically, what are the other challenges that this ward, because you're the area MCA, have?
Talking about challenges of the ward, there are many. We have challenges of water, and we are looking forward and working closely with the national government and World Bank to address problem of water. We have a problem of water in this ward, and we have problem of roads, and as a county government, we are looking forward to make sure that we get roads, and of course healthcare. The healthcare is a problem, especially when you go to the interior sites. We are looking forward also to address challenges of healthcare. Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was the area MCA of this area. Of course, we just want to take a look at what other stalls are there and what they have to offer for the pastoralists, the farmers. And I can see more and more stalls are opening and it's getting filled up. We have Pastoralist Development Network of Kenya. We have Braz Agro Limited. Basically, different organizations just showcasing different things that they have and what they have to offer to the pastoralists, in the country. All right, let's go to this one here. Mara beef, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's try this one. This is Braz Agro Limited. It says the leading supplier of farm machinery and equipment in Eastern Africa. Hi, how are you?
Very fine.
Welcome to this is KTN News. Okay. Tell me briefly what Braz Agro Limited is all about.
Braz Agro is about the value added. We started with coffee, and then as the year progressed, we went to farm level. That's where we import machine from Brazil and come and transfer the technology to Africa, to East and Central Africa. We're in Kenya, Rwanda, and Tanzania, and among other East African countries. So basically in Kenya office, we get this transfer for technology from Brazil, whereby we come and assist the community. We bring the sustainable technology through conservation agriculture, pasture development, like all these things, value-added chain in livestock.
You'll agree with me, though, technology is quite expensive, yes?
Yes, technology is expensive, but we don't have a shortcut to it. But we have got sustainable means for equipment which are for dribbling, like the jar planter and the animal drone planter. That's the price are quite fair, but we need a little bit of a patience because we have to start somewhere.
For a pastoralist who's watching right now and would want to understand these equipments you have, can you tell me in a simple way which is which, what is what?
Maybe I can come over and show you the equipment there.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. Okay.
Okay, for livestock here, you can clearly see that we have got a feed mixer. This is a very important mixer that is able to mix all the feeds Instead of people buying the feeds, you can just get your raw material and mix it here. Then we have another equipment here for reducing the cutting size of the fodder, because you find that when the people just come and give the cow or the livestock the fodder when it's big, you find that utilization is not very high, is not palatable. So this equipment makes sure that you reduce the size of the fodder to a manageable level. This forage harvester, again, when you have some grasses or you have some pastures, you can come and harvest the pasture using this forage harvester. And then we have got another very important equipment. This is a pulverizer. This is a small unit for people with 3-4 cows that goes a long way in family needs, in a family farming. Then you can see here we have got a spreader there. That spreader is very important, a key component, because you see like Kajiado here, the rain is raining here, and the rain will go. But now I think it was the high time for those track of land people to till them, come through the fertilizer spreader, spread the seeds, and in few months' time, you see the ground sprouting and they can harvest and keep for their future use.
Okay, so where have you put any county, any pastoralists that are using this currently?
Country, we're working with the farmers in Kajiado, but we realize there are single individual farmers whom are able and whom are able to do that. But we'd like the county to come to this and assist the farmers, because it's only the county that can be able to invest in this technology and keep it in an AMS where they can put the equipment in agricultural mechanization services center, where the farmers can come and take them in need-to-need basis. So that's where the county is, and this is the beauty of devolution.
Very interesting. Do you train any of these pastoralists on how to use this? Because it sort of looks complicated to use. Is there a system that you use to train pastoralists, or the few individuals that use the system?
We don't believe in selling the equipment before training. Our idea is to train the people so that it can become sustainable. Otherwise, it will be useless to give the farmer equipment when they have enough training. I've been training Kajiado Maasai dairy women, and they can attest to it that I've been trying to tell them this technology, but sometimes it's not taken very high because you see there's no community that backing. And this is the time we're calling the county government through agriculture extension officer. We join hands because they know what to be done, and we do it right for our people.
Okay, so I'd ask a light question. How affordable are these equipment?
I can say Brazilian technology, we have got 3 types of technology. We have got European, the Western economy, it's higher. That's Europe. And then you come Brazil in center there, and then you come other parts of the world like China and India. So I can say in some of pricing, we can say we are number 3 from US, Europe, and then Brazil, and then India and China for us. So we can say is fine. And again, you're also looking at durability. The equipment is durable, and its adaptation. Brazil being with the tropic, you find that the agriculture in Africa is almost the same climatic condition and that. So you find that most equipment from Europe, because of the season and all these things, do not work very well in Africa. But for Brazil, it has been tested and working very well.
Okay, very, very interesting. Of course, that is just technology together with agriculture, just promoting an easier way of doing things. Now, let's move to the next stall. This is Pastoralist Development Network of Kenya. So if we could just speak to the people on here to just get more perspective on what it is all about. Hi, how are you? You're live on KTN News. So kindly... tell me, what do you have here today, and what is the Pastoralist Development Network of Kenya all about?
Pastoralist Development of Kenya is an advocacy NGO. We are advocating for the rights of pastoralists, that is, pastoralists as a livelihood. So PDNK is an advocacy organization. We work in 14 pastoral counties, and we link pastoralist communities to their duty bearers. PDNK has also network regionally. We have formed East and South Africa Pastoralist Network to advocate for the rights of pastoralists regionally and also in Kenya.
Okay, so you said it's an advocacy sort of development network. How do you do it? And how do you enlighten the pastoralists?
We enlighten our pastoralists through community engagements. That is, we organize workshops. We also have programs in local radio stations where pastoralists can understand the local dialect. We also publish like these publications we have now, like this one. It's about land governance, about land tenure system. We also organize community forums where we bring in communities like women, youth, and also council of elders when we have an issue to talk about. Like at the moment, we are fast-tracking Community Land Act 2016. So we'll be doing civic education in all pastoral counties to enlighten communities about this act, and now we can lobby the government to implement it. Yes.
Having interacted with these pastoralists, in your opinion, what are the challenges and the problems that they have?
Our big challenge is that most of pastoral communities are illiterate as we speak, despite the free education that government has sponsored. So we realize in some counties we lack infrastructure, we don't have schools. And again, we lack information, especially when we have such policies like Community Land Act, like the Climate Change Act. Most of our pastoral communities are not aware about this act. So we come in as PDNK to take this information to the farmers and to the pastoral and the others.
So yes, I understand you've said when it comes to illiteracy, that's one of the biggest challenges. But how do you deal with that? What is the solution to that?
The solution is when we like this act, we translate and we put them into a readable format, and we make sure that we distribute to our communities when we're having our community forums. We make sure that we train at least the elite so that they can train the other communities. So we use TOT trainings. So we train a number of people, and then we use them to convert our information to the people.
Okay. Very interesting. And for the youth? Okay, for the youth, how do you train them? Because I'm sure you'd want to train them to train their parents and the rest of the pastoralists. How do you do that?
Mostly we have a WhatsApp group, and we use the social media, the Facebook. Like we have now a Samburu forum, we have Baringo forum, we have like Kipia forum, and we realize that most of our youth, they are good in internet. So we convey our messages through the WhatsApp groups, and that's when we get them at hand.
Okay, so I just want you to give me like a brief story. Knowing that raiding is a very big issue when it comes to pastoralists in different parts of the country, of course. Have you ever encountered a situation where people justify why they raid?
For your information, I come from Baringo. It's the most eaten. And for sure, there's something wrong about the perception about banditry. Before, we used to be told that this was a lifestyle. It was like a game. But nowadays, it's more of a life and death, because they kill even women, they displace livelihood. So for youth, I think we should go back to our communities, empower youth first, because they don't have employment. Most of them have not been to school. So this group, they are the most marginalized. So we need to talk to our government. If they will put up like the technical school like we have now, they should make it universal in all counties, Samburu, Baringo, all over. Yes, because that is what we lack.
Okay, when we were talking to Mheshimiwa the other time, he was saying sometimes there's that pressure from the community, you need to have 1,000 cows. Do you think that's the reason why people raid? In your opinion, why do you think they actually raid?
I don't have a reason to justify raiding, because it has displaced people. So I think that is a backward, retrogressive behavior that's going on, and we should really stop it. It's getting worse, and I think there's some group of people financing them. Otherwise, it should stop. It should not encourage raiding. Yeah. So I can speak to our coordinator, Michael Tiampati. Maybe you can ask him some few questions.
Okay. All right. So, yes, tell us more about this development. She's really explained a lot, but what can you add?
The Pastoralist Development Network of Kenya is a consortium of organizations from 15 counties in Kenya that have a pastoralist presence. It was founded in 2003 specifically to advocate for policies that will support pastoralism and also build the capacity of pastoralists in Kenya. And essentially, the aim of bringing them together was the fact that for a long time pastoralists spoke in a fragmented way. You know, Northeastern would address their issues, South Rift would address their issues, North Rift and Northeastern. So there was a felt need to consolidate that voice, because you know in Kenya and in politics it's about numbers. So, and we pastoralists are not as few as people perceive.
We hold 75% of the Kenyan landmass. 99% of the wildlife resources are within our lands. Our livestock base is almost 15 billion shillings. No, 75 billion shillings, sorry. And we contribute a lot in terms of other aspects. So we thought that by coming together we could inform policy processes and development. So I heard you asking a question about big herds and the realities. The realities initially, big herds served certain purposes. Okay, big herds served certain purposes. Big herds served certain purposes, one being security against shocks such as drought, disease, and predation by predators. And therefore, when it came to droughts, these herds were not grazed at the same place at the same time. There was something called herd splitting. You would find that 1,000 animals were split 4 times, and they were taken to various places as a way of ensuring that if a disease struck here, then it would not wipe out all the animals. If predators attacked the herd, they would not wipe them out. If raiders came and the like. So it was what we call an insurance, informal insurance. Secondly, the numbers also served the purpose of catering for the needs of the community and the owner of the livestock. There was prestige, of course, and then there was the economic component. You would have found that a person with 1,000 animals has 5 wives and a dozen children, several dozen children. So those were the realities then. Now we come to the reality now. First, we have diminishing resources and space, increasing population, climate change, insecurity, diseases, and all this. This provides a lethal cocktail to pastoralism. And what should we do? Because pastoralism is here to stay. However, pastoralists have been innovative since they came to this world. Very innovative in terms of responding to challenges. And we shall have to